Apparently, the demon wanted to take over Lou's body, trying to attract his attention with the doll and mentioning him in the notes. Dreams, scratches, and burns are characteristic of the early stages of the demon's manifestation, which wants to take over the human body and continue to live in it. An exorcism was performed in Donna and Angie's apartment, after which the Warrens took the doll for themselves. Donna, Angie, and Lou were now free of the horror that had plagued them for the past few months. As for the Annabelle doll, it is now locked in a glass case at the Warren Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. The sign, "Dangerous. Do not open it in any case." The entity still rests in the doll. Sensitive people still sense the evil emanating from the doll. Perhaps a demon forced to reside in an uncomfortable doll's body is still waiting for a suitable person to visit the museum so that it can switch to him or her. Cursed Annabelle doll, scary doll demon. In the 1970s, terrible events began to occur in a small apartment where two female medical students lived. The girls watched as an inanimate object moved around their apartment on its own. They found strange notes scattered all over the house, and their friend, who stayed with them overnight, began to have terrible nightmares. This culminated in an attack on their friend, after which the young man was left with bloody burns on his chest. Who was responsible for these terrible events? A rag doll named Annabelle, who was possessed by a demon and posed as the ghost of a little girl. It all started after a medical school student named Donna received a rag doll from her mother as a birthday present. Such dolls were very popular in the 1960s to 70s of the 20th century, and the girl really liked the gift. The doll lay on the bed as a decoration and did not cause any concern to either Donna or her neighbor, whose name was Angie. However, after some time, the girls began to notice that something was clearly wrong with the doll. The doll was placed on Donna's bed, and the girls always felt as if she was watching them. Sometimes this strange feeling turned into a real panic because they began to think that the doll came to life. It seemed to the girls that the doll moved around the house on its own. When they returned home from school, they always found her in different and completely unexpected places. At first, the doll simply changed its position on the bed, but then it began to be found all over the house. Most often, the girls found her sitting cross-legged on the couch. Donna thought Angie was making fun of her, so one morning, before class, she took the doll out of bed and put it on the couch. However, when I got home earlier than my neighbor, I saw that the doll was again lying on her bed. About a month after Annabelle was found in various locations, things took an even stranger turn. Donna and Angie, on their way home, not only found Annabelle in various places, but they began to come across notes on pieces of parchment paper written in a childish hand. The notes were similar in content. Help. Help us. Help Lou. The girls decided that they had had enough. Not only were the contents of the notes creepy in themselves, the girls were also completely unable to figure out where the notes were coming from in the house, as none of them had any parchment paper. Donna turned to a medium, who soon came into contact, allegedly with the spirit of a little girl named Annabelle Higgins. Annabelle had once lived in a house that stood on the site of a new apartment complex. Annabelle was 7 years old when she died. Donna and Angie were happy with the outcome, but their friend Lou was skeptical. Lou believed that the doll was evil and needed to be destroyed. When he spent the night with them, he had real nightmares about Annabelle attacking him. Lorraine Warren with Annabelle. One evening, Lou and Angie were sitting in the living room studying maps as they were preparing to take a trip to an unfamiliar place the next day. Suddenly, they were drawn to a noise from Donna's room. Fearing that it might be a burglar, Lou cautiously crept up to the bedroom door and abruptly burst in, intending to catch the culprit. However, the room was empty except for Annabelle. This time, she was sprawled out on the floor, as if her life had left her. Lou went over to inspect the doll when he suddenly had the feeling that someone was standing behind him. He turned, expecting to see Angie, but all he felt was a burning sensation in his chest. Lou ran out of the room and into the living room, pulling off his shirt. To his and Angie's surprise, they saw bloodstains on his chest from deep scratches that only claws could have made. However, upon closer inspection, Lou's wounds looked more like burns. Lou had clearly been attacked by some invisible creature. Now they were all convinced that the doll was possessed by an evil entity, and Donna again turned to psychics. Help came from Ed and Lorraine Warren, who faced many manifestations of evil and dark forces. In their practice, there was even a well-known incident in Amityville when almost an entire family was killed overnight. They soon came to the conclusion that the doll wasn't possessed by any spirit, but rather someone or something was pretending to be possessed by someone else's spirit. The entity that had taken up residence in the doll couldn't have possessed it because this spirit needed a human. The doll was used by this entity only to convince the girls that they were dealing with a friendly spirit. The psychics determined that the doll was used by a demon who wanted to achieve more, and Donna, at the previous session, involuntarily gave him permission to stay. Apparently, the demon wanted to take over Lou's body, trying to attract his attention with the doll and mentioning him in the notes. Dreams, scratches, and bew. Apparently, the demon wanted to take over Lou's body, trying to attract his attention with the doll and mentioning him in the notes. Dreams, scratches, and burns are characteristic of the early stages of the demon's manifestation, which wants to take over the human body and continue to live in it. An exorcism was performed in Donna and Angie's apartment, after which the Warrens took the doll for themselves. Donna, Angie, and Lou were now free of the horror that had plagued them for the past few months. As for the Annabelle doll, it is now locked in a glass case at the Warren Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. The sign, "Dangerous. Do not open it in any case." The entity still rests in the doll. Sensitive people still sense the evil emanating from the doll. Perhaps a demon forced to reside in an uncomfortable doll's body is still waiting for a suitable person to visit the museum so that it can switch to him or her.